I was recently wondering what can or cannot Donald Trump do with Jerome Powell. I think it's important to understand the possibilities because a lot of what is going on currently is dependent on, like the tariff wars. Eventually, I think is going to culminate into Donald Trump pressurizing Jerome Powell. So obviously, this is based on my research via ChatGPT and Grok. So no, ChatGPT said no, Donald Trump or any president cannot directly fire Jerome Powell because Fed chairmen have 4 years term, though the person may serve longer on the board of governors. Can only be removed for cause, which means serious misconduct, not just policy disagreement. So obviously there is no cause that we know of right now. This is protected under Federal Reserve Act, legal precedent from cases like Humphrey's Executor versus U.S. 1935, which limits presidential power to remove independent agency officials. Trump did try to pressure Powell in 2018, 2020 as well, especially for not lowering interest rates fast enough. He reportedly asked lawyers whether he could demote or fire Powell, but backed off after being told it would likely be illegal or politically damaging. So Donald Trump obviously has a benchmark understanding of what is possible and what is not possible in this regard. So the president can nominate the Fed chair and reappoint or not after the 4-year term. I think Powell's term is ending in 2026, early 2026. Influence policy indirectly through appointment to the board of governors. I asked Grok. This seems to be all busted up. Asked Grok, like, what are the past examples of Fed Reserve chairmen going against the U.S. presidents? Maybe let's start from the recent most first. Paul Volcker versus Jimmy Carter and Reagan. Walker's aggressive rate hikes to curb inflation clashed with Carter's and Reagan's preference for economic stimulus. Despite pressure, Walker persisted, taming inflation but causing a recession. Reagan replaced him with Greenspan in 1987. Outcome, Walker's policy succeeded, but he wasn't reappointed. Walker, I think, is the prime example that's given every time when someone is talking about the ability of Fed chairman to stick it out and have an independent position. And he was present for a really long time as well, from 1979 to 87. Come to think of it, Powell has been there for a while as well. It seems like 2018 since now. So 8 years almost. And for Walker as well, it was an 8-year term. Arthur Burns versus Richard Nixon. Nixon pressured Burns to ease monetary policy before 1972 election, leveraging Burns' Republican ties. Burns complied, contributing to a post-election inflation. Outcome, Burns acquiesced, policy aligned with Nixon's goal, but his term ended without reappointment by Jimmy Carter. William McKesney Martin, 1951 to 70, versus Lyndon B. Johnson. Johnson physically intimidated Martin to ease monetary policy during the Vietnam War, reportedly pushing him against a wall. Martin initially resisted, but eventually loosened policy, later regretting it as it fueled inflation. Outcome, Martin gave in, policy shifted, but he served his full term. All right, I think that's enough examples here. President often push for looser monetary policy because that's basically their credit card. Nobody likes their credit card interest rates to go high up more than they need to, while Fed chairs prioritize inflation control or stability, leading to tension. Outcomes vary. Chairs may resist like Walker, Powell, and Eccles and achieve policy goal but face replacement or pressure. Well, Powell has already done 8 years, so I don't think he has any concern in that regard. Others, Martin, legal independence reinforced by cases like Humphrey's executor limits presidential power to remove chairs without cause, preserving Fed autonomy in most cases. All right, so then I said to ChatGPT, pretend you are a chief advisor to Donald Trump. What few strategies you can use to either fire Powell or functionally get him to comply to Trump's interest rate demands. Okay, so then ChatGPT said, demotion by reassignment, test legal boundaries. Reassign Powell as regular Fed governor and install a Trump loyalist as chair. There's a debate among scholars whether the president can reassign the chair role without firing the person from the board. Trump explored this in 2019. Lawyers warned it was risky but not definitively illegal. So it was somewhat of a gray area. Risks massive market volatility, lawsuits, potential constitutional crisis. Constructive pressure through congressional allies. I don't think Trump is too interested in this one. Coordinate with GOP House and Senate allies to launch investigation, issue subpoenas, or publicly question Powell's performance. That he has been doing, publicly questioning Powell's performance. This delegitimizes the Fed chair and forces him to a defensive posture, making compliance more likely. Appoint ultra dovish Fed governors. So I'm not entirely sure like what is the chairperson to Fed governor dynamic is like, but it seems like if you stack the board of governors with Trump aligned rate cut hungry economists, over time Powell could be outvoted on policy decisions, effectively neutralized. This is completely legal and Trump has done it before. Judy Shelton nomination attempt. Public pressure campaign Trump style. Trump has done that already. Tweets like worst Fed chair ever, hiked rate while Biden killed oil. Sad. Rally chant, cut the rates. Cut the rates. This worked to some extent during Trump's first term. Powell eventually paused and cut rates in 2019, possibly in response to mounting pressure. To me, this seems like the most likely way out of this for Trump and he's an expert of doing it in any case. So tie Powell to inflation or economic instability. He kept rates too high, now we're in stagflation. Well, Trump is already doing that. Float op-eds, Fox Experience think tank report to shift the Overton window toward justifying his removal for cause. I don't know about for cause, but he can definitely, and he kind of did it last time as well, shift the conversation to a point where it's not so much about whether Jerome Powell can cut the rate or not. It's about how soon can he do it. Dismantle Fed independence law game, push legislation to curb Fed power or make it more politically accountable. That's not happening. All right, so let's see. In terms of legality, demote Powell is the highest risk. Legislate Fed reform. Fire for cause is the second riskiest. Legislate Fed reform, that's not Trump's style anyways. He doesn't have the patience to do all that. Congressional harassment, that he can. Media public pressure, that he can. Effectiveness over both of those is at level 2. I think that's what Trump is likely going to do. I think one more thing ChatGPT doesn't have here, which I think I read somewhere, that what Trump can start doing is start holding like a shadow Fed chairperson that he intends to nominate next year. He can start holding public pressers with him or her, and completely ignoring and disregarding what Powell has to say. So that will be like forward looking, this is our plan, this is what we're going to do, sort of a situation, and then Trump can set the narrative and let the market move accordingly. That's one more thing Trump can do. I think I read somewhere. All right, let me know what you guys think.